Okay, so if I play this now, you'll see that, okay, I can jump, and I can still go back to my other stuff. I can shoot, and I can still go back, so it goes back. Although it's doing like a double shoot, because I think because of the time they have on it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and the yield wait for seconds. I'll make that like, let's say 0.7. I don't know if that's a good amount or not. Yours might need to be more or less. I don't know. Let's see. I gotta wait for it to come up. Okay, play. Good. Okay, that's good enough. All right. Now the other thing I need to do is that when he's shooting, he should probably shoot something, right? So right now he's not shooting anything. So what I need to do is actually have it shoot. Now, couple of issues with that. That's kind of weird. Okay. Let's see. So what I need to do is I need to instantiate something, an egg, right? So here's my egg. Where are you? Ammo. Here's my egg right here, right? So actually, I'm gonna go ahead and change this to egg. It's a little bit better, and that looks fine. So there we go. I got this egg here, which is great and everything. But I need to instantiate it so that when he points this gun, it will shoot from a specific location. And I also need it to base its rotation off of another object. So what I'm going to do is instantiate the egg, okay? Now, to the position I want to instantiate, where I want it to spawn from, I'm going to make a little cube. That's basically, I'm just going to put like where the tip of the gun ends up, and it will make it right there. Okay, so I'm only going to do is just go to game object. I'm going to create a 3D object, and I'm just going to make a cube. Honestly, it could be anything. There it is. Wondrous. Okay. I'm going to take this, and I am going to parent it to the first person controller. Okay. And that way, when I move my guy around and stuff, you can see it's always right in the same spot. Okay. Just follows along just like the character does. Good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it up and over. I'm going to go ahead and scale this down to like that. And I'm just going to like eyeball it. So I'm just going to hit shoot. And you can see it's a little bit to the left of where I want it to be. A little bit left and a little bit down. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to move it up and over a little bit. And we'll see. So that looks roughly where I want it to go. That looks fine. Okay. Now, the thing is, this cube, I'm just going to go ahead and put, like, egg spawn spot, we'll call it, okay? I don't need, you'll see that right here it says mesh render. I'm going to turn that off. It's only there as a placeholder of where I want to instantiate. It could be an empty. The cube's a little bit easier because I can visually see it. That's why I decided to use a cube. I could have just done create an empty and stuck it there. It would have been the same thing. But I just wanted it there so that I have it to work with. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my code, and I'm going to go down here, and where it says shoot, I'm going to add a little bit to it in order to make it work. Now, what that means, though, is I'm going to add some variables. So I had the variable that's going to hold the actual egg that I'm going to shoot, right? And that's obviously a game object. This is what it's going to shoot. I'm going to need another variable that's going to hold the, we'll say gun end. Okay, and that's going to hold where, and that's also a game object, okay, and that's going to hold where it spawns. In this case, it's that little cube that I just created. I make another variable that's going to be the camera, okay, so we'll call it cam rot. The reason why it's the cam rotation, because I'm going to use the camera rotation for the angle that it's getting spawned at, but I'm going to use the position is going to be based off of that object, okay? That way, if I look up, even though the object isn't going to move up, at least it will shoot at an up angle, okay? So game object, and then I'm going to need a couple more variables that's going to hold the egg position, which is going to be a vector 3, right? Because it's world coordinates, a vector 3, and oops. And another variable that's going to hold, variable that's going to hold the egg rotation, okay? And that is going to be of a type quaternion. I think there's not supposed to be an R in there. Hang on a second. There it is, quaternion, sorry. I always want to say quaternion for some reason. And we will call that good. All right, so we're gonna go with that. But basically all this, so one's gonna hold the object and all the other business there. All right, so I gotta do the variable, it's gonna play the animation, then after it plays the animation, I need it to do the stuff. So I'm gonna say my egg position, and we're gonna equal that to the gun end dot transform, right? So it's the transform dot position. Okay, I want it to be wherever the current position of wherever that cube is where the egg position where I want it to spawn. Okay, and then we're gonna do egg rotation. It's going to be equal to the camera rotation. Camera rotation dot transform dot rotation. Okay, so I want it to be rotated at the same angle the camera is rotated. Then I just need to instantiate the egg, so I'm gonna do instantiate. Okay, and that's a capital because it's a function. Instantiate, and we're gonna instantiate, and then the parameters in it is that it want to instantiate the egg, which is gonna be the game object, and then I want it to be instantiated at egg position, and then it's the rotation, and then egg rotation. Okay. And that's gonna be that. All right, so that looks pretty okay. I'm gonna go ahead and save that and hope that I don't get a weird error. I probably will, because yay. Okay, good. So that looks okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my egg here, and actually I gotta grab the kid, and you can see I have all these different, I don't need the egg rotation or position, that's gonna find that, but gun end is going to be that gun spawn spot, that's where this goes. The cam rot is going to be the camera, which I think is this thing. Cam rot, let me just double check. Yeah, that would be, this is the camera, right? Yep, that's the camera. So I want that to be for the first person character. Yep. And then the egg itself is going to be that. So what I'm going to do actually is, instead of dropping that egg in there, I'm going to make a new folder, create folder, and it's going to be my prefabs folder. And I'm going to drop my egg in there, so that way it's a prefab. And then in here, I'm going to say it's going to spawn my egg. Okay. And actually on the egg itself, I'm going to go ahead and add some components. So add component. And we need to add some physics. I'm going to add a rigid body, and I am also going to add the sphere collider. Okay, and I'm going to double click, see what this, okay, sphere collider, we'll call that good enough. Okay, even though it's somewhat oval, I don't really care that much. No one's going to notice that it's not working 100%. All right, good. And so then I'm going to take this and I'm going to hit apply, so it applies it to all of them. Which means that this will have those attributes as well. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete it up here. I don't need it. And I'll hit play. And it's just, you're going to see it's going to go boop. Yay. It doesn't really shoot. It just kind of drops it, which is cool. But, you know, might need to, like, I don't know, do a little bit more, right? So that's not quite finishing it. So basically what I need to do is I need to apply a force to my egg to actually make it move forward. Right now it's just appearing in space. So to do that, I'm going to make another script that I'm going to attach specifically to the egg itself. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the egg up here so that I can work with it. I'm going to go to my scripts, and I'm going to create a new script, create, and we're going to call this a JavaScript, and we'll call it egg shot script. All right, so it's when it gets shot, this is the script. Give it a second to, all right, I'm going to drop that onto here, and then I'll hit apply. And that way it'll apply to all of them. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete this now. I don't need it anymore. I just wanted to be able to apply it there. And now I'm going to open this up, and we are going to add some stuff to this. All right, so let's get to it. All right. So I'm going to have a variable to hold my rigid body. I'm just going to call it RB for rigid body, and it's going to be of a type rigid body. And I need that one because that's how I'm going to apply the force to it. I'm going to make a variable that is going to hold the strength. Basically, how much force am I going to apply to this? I could put anything in there. I could just put a number, but this way I can adjust it afterwards to taste. So this variable I can control in my inspector over here to make it a little bit easier to work with. And I'm going to do another variable basically called y adjust. And basically what this is going to do, it's going to be another float. Basically what it's going to do is that instead of shooting straight out, it's the y adjust is also going to shoot it up slightly. Okay, so it's going to be the strength is just going to be shooting forward. So basically in the z axis. But you'll notice, like, if you shoot it like that, like it seems to almost fall off really fast, which is actually how guns work. I mean, you shoot slightly above the thing because obviously gravity automatically applies to it, but we're doing games, so this way when I shoot it, it'll shoot it a little bit upwards based on my y adjust, and then it'll go from there. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a function awake, okay, to basically function awake to attach my rigid body there. Okay, and so it's just going to be RB is equal to get component dot, and I'm wanting to get my rigid body that's attached to my guy here. Okay, so that's just gonna attach that to RB, and then on the function start, it's just basically, it means as soon as this is instantiated. So you remember, it's not going to exist. This is not going to even exist until it gets instantiated. So basically, as soon as it instantiates, I want to just apply the force. So I'm just going to do RB dot add relative force. Okay, so this is just applying a force, and it's going to be 0. So it's X. I don't want to move it left or right. Okay, and then it's going to be y adjust, and then it's going to be, where'd you go? Then it's going to be strength. Okay, like so. Good. So basically it's going to go ahead and add that force, and then I'm going to go ahead and add another script onto this, and it's just going to be an on trigger enter, and the arguments are going to be, get over there, it's going to be other, and it's going to store the collider of what it hits. And all we're going to do is we're going to say if if other tag is equal to terrain, destroy this. Actually, you know what? We're not going to do that. I just want to destroy it. So we're just going to say destroy, and I want to destroy this, which just means what this is. This in this case, it would be this script. But of this script, I want to destroy the game object. Okay, game object. And that's what it's going to do. So it's just, as soon as it hits something, anything that enters it, it's going to destroy itself. So basically, as soon as the egg hits something, it's just going to go away, which is what I need to have happen. All right, so we'll do that. Go in here, and blah, blah, blah. Collider does not denote valid type. All right, so did I mean collider? So I must have spelled it wrong. I put 2 I's instead of 2 L's. Okay, back in here. Good. And I already got that attached to that. So what I need to do, actually, is I got to open up that egg again because I'm an idiot. So let's go to prefabs. Actually, I can do it right in here. So I'm going to go down to I'm going to switch the trigger, and I need, or the thing, to a trigger. I don't need it to roll around. And I'm going to go ahead and change strength. I'm going to do 100, and then I'm going to go ahead and change the Y adjust to, let's say, 50. And see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna have to play with those numbers. I don't really know, honestly. So 100 is pretty strong. Okay, so it's not quite working the way I was hoping for. So I am gonna actually do this. I'm gonna put this on here because it's getting destroyed immediately when I shoot it because it's hitting the object that's instantiating it. So I need to change this. So we're gonna say if other dot tag is equal to terrain. So if it hits the ground, then it's going to destroy the game object. Okay, and that looks good. Control S. I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to take the terrain object, and I'm going to go ahead and add a tag to this called terrain. And now when I hit play and I shoot, There it goes. It shoots it. Okay, and it automatically dives as soon as it goes out. But you can see it needs a lot more power.